Welcome to this FaithLink Apps tutorial for the app Wordswag. Now, Wordswag is a third-party app completely unrelated to FaithLink apps, but we wanted to make a tutorial for it because it's a tool that we often point churches towards for creating sermon series artwork or for creating announcement slides if they don't have a resource to already do it, or if they just want a resource that allows them to do it very quickly. So right here you have the opening screen for Wordswag, and you can see at the bottom of the screen you have a camera button and a Polaroid button. What you're probably going to want to always do is press that Polaroid button so that you can access either images you already have saved on your phone or images that Wordswag allows you to search for, which is one of the powerful tools built into Wordswag. So I click that Polaroid button, and you can see I'm presented with maybe 200 images here. And these images are always the same when you open the app. And one of the problems I run into with churches when we tell them that they should try this tool out is that they just see this list of images and they're like, wow, that's great. This is something I could already do anywhere. I mean, just a few hundred images, great. But the cool thing is that you have this field at the top of the screen that says Search Pixabay Images. Now, Pixabay Images, or Pixabay, is a resource that hosts images that are free to use and safe to use. So if you use the images from Pixabay, you don't have to worry about getting in legal trouble for using them inside of your promotional artwork for your church. So what I'm going to do here is, let's say we needed to make an announcement slide for a church barbecue. So I'm going to type barbecue and search. And you'll see I am immediately presented with around 100. It will be 100 if 100 exists for the search term. Presented with 100 images for barbecues. So any of these images can be touched, and then they can be used in the background for whatever artwork I want to make or whatever sermon series artwork I want to make. But keep in mind that every keyword you type will be used, and spelling is critical. So let's say I'm in Montana and we're going to have a barbecue. Well, if I type Montana barbecue in, nothing comes up. And that's because nobody has actually uploaded images that are for barbecue and Montana. So let's go back and just make it barbecue. And before we move forward, I do want to mention I said all images are safe to use. I'm sure that Pixabay does monitor what images are uploaded, but there could always be a chance that something does get uploaded that is not legal to use. So if you see like logos or something, maybe you should be a little more hesitant about using that. But let's scroll down and pick an image to use for our church barbecue. So I'm selecting this image, and you can see that you are presented with these cropping options here that scroll horizontally. And right now we're on square, so it would crop to a square. What I find is the very best way to crop is the 16 by 9, because 16 by 9 can be used nicely on social media, but then the image can also be presented as a slide for ProPresenter or anything else on an HD TV or HD projector. So I'm going to touch 16 by 9, and you can see now that the image is set to be cropped at that size, and I can move the image around by putting my finger on it and scrolling it up and down to make it fit inside the frame wherever I want it to go. So let's do it right here so you can see most of the grill. And then I'm going to click crop. If I click skip, it would just use the original image. But if I click crop, it will then make the image into a 16 by 9 image. Now you can see that the image is there ready to use, and I can no longer actually manipulate the image, but now I have text over it, and anywhere I touch will move that text around. And this is the text that can be used to make the title or add details to your slide. So if I actually want to change that text, I need to follow the directions that it says and double tap it. And you can see there it says double tap me to change the text. I'm going to click the X there on the top right. It gets rid of the text. And I actually cheated and copied some text to my clipboard for join us on Mondays at 7 p.m. at 44th Street Park. So these are the details about my event. So I'm going to go ahead and click Save and Close, and now the details are written there. But that's really big. I won't have room for a title if I want a title. So let's try to find a way to make it so it's smaller and maybe a little more appealing than just having a big white background behind the text. You can see along the bottom you have a horizontally scrolling list of styles. So I can click any style, And each style has 3 to 5 different options for ways to lay the style out. And that's what the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is at the bottom. So you can start to see just how neat this app is, because it gives you the option to have free images and the option to stylize stuff in such a neat way. So let's try to find a style that we can lay out that will be smaller, so we have room for a title at the top of the screen. All right, let's try ultra clean. And with all these details, it could be hard to come up with something small, but we could do something like this. Now what you can see is a problem we're kind of running into, and I'm pinching to zoom to make it a little smaller there. A problem we're running into is that the text is white, but there's areas of the grill that are white, making it tough to see. So what you can do to correct that, instead of just not using the image, is you can click the image button along the black bar there, just below the middle of the screen, and it brings up options for different ways you can stylize the picture, but also the option to change the brightness. So since we're using white text, I'm just going to turn the brightness down a little bit and make the text a little more visible. Now I'm getting a little too dark, so it almost looks nighttime. But we'll just put it right about there. And you'll see that the text is looking a little hard to read, but you also got to realize that the entire image is scaled way down. So once it's actually as big as it will be presented, it'll actually be pretty readable. So I'm going to go ahead and click Save, because we're happy with the details we have here. But we still want to add a title and maybe something stylized to make it look neat. So to add additional text, you have a More option at the bottom of the screen with a Reswag button. So I'm going to go ahead and click that Reswag button, and now I have the text all over again in the same style, where the other text I added is now there permanently as part of the picture. So if I double-click this text, I have the ability to change it. So let's say it's the 44th annual... I love the word 44, as you can tell. 44th Annual Church Barbecue. And that helps people know what it is this even is. And here's that. It looks nice there, but I mean, the styling, it's the very same as what we have below. So I clicked the Style button in the black bar to get back to the different text styles. And let's just try clicking around to see what looks good. And that's very readable, bold, it jumps out at you. So maybe we'll go with something like that. Quickly go through other options. Ooh, what about this? That looks really good. I like how the line comes up to the bottom of what we had below. So let's just say we stick with that. And now I'm going to click Save. So now both times I clicked Save, it actually did save the image to my photo library. So the original version without the title is there, and now this new version is there. So I'm going to jump into the Photos app, and here is my image. Here is my image ready to use. You can see I had a test version I accidentally pulled up there, but here is the version that we just finished, and it is ready to use. So sure, that's just an example of what could be done for a single announcement slide, but something we've seen some churches do is generate almost all of their sermon series artwork using this app. So I'm going to go ahead and pull down from my home screen to bring up Plano Christian Church, which is a church that FaithLink Apps works with. Now, this church generates almost all of their artwork using Wordswag, and you can see the top sermon series is all in, which obviously is not a series that they designed, since that's a book, and that's the artwork from the book. But almost everything else, like this connections image, also, like, we've gone through and picked out some of our favorites, but almost everything they design is amazing and looks better than what a lot of churches create using something like Photoshop. And all of this is generated from within Wordswag, showing you just what the power is and how a church can take a job of creating sermon series artwork that can take, hours and hours and hours from people. And if you don't have the means to do so, you can actually generate it and have something that in many cases can look better than the people that are spending all that time. That concludes our tutorial for Wordswag. If you want details or to see the written tutorial, you can visit faithlinkapps.com, and we'll have the link to that tutorial in the description of this video.